How's it going, guys? Welcome back. We got another video for you today about Halloween Ends. Right now I've been thinking a little bit about, is Halloween Ends going to be better than Halloween Kills? And I have some interesting thoughts. I think that Halloween Kills was a good movie. I don't think it was as good as 2018, but it definitely had some positives, and with all the things that we've heard about Halloween Ends, I just have some questions about whether it's going to be better or not. I certainly hope it is. I think we always hope for that. We always hope the next one's going to be better, but we will see. So let's get into it. So first off, my first idea is, will there be a flashback scene? That was one of the best parts of Halloween Kills for me. I think it was probably the best part. It might even be one of my favorite parts of the entire franchise. I love that flashback scene with the pure white mask. It was just amazing. The film quality, the aesthetic of it all was just fantastic. I really loved it. It really felt like you were back in 1978 Halloween in that movie. It just transforms you. It just takes you right back and puts you in that original movie. I just don't think they could have done that any better. And also, you had one of the most physical scenes we've ever seen of Michael Myers in that flashback scene. I hope there will be another flashback scene in Halloween Ends, but to be honest, I don't think there will be. And it's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. But there's also, that might not be a bad thing, because it is theoretically possible that if they did another flashback scene, that it just wouldn't, they just might not be able to recreate it the same way. They might mess it up, and so maybe it would be cheesy, maybe it just wouldn't fit the story. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it would be worse. It just means that it might not be, that was one of the biggest positives from Halloween Kills. So if they don't have a flashback scene, it's possible that it could be a negative comparing it to Halloween Kills. The next thing that I'm thinking about, how many kills will there be compared to Halloween Kills? Now, that's hard to top because, the other movie was called Halloween Kills, so there were a lot of kills. Spoiler alert. To be honest, there were less than I thought there was going to be, but there was still a good amount. I guess he kind of racked up the numbers when he goes against big groups at a time. So, with the firefighters and then the other townspeople, those are great scenes, but there weren't as many kills as I wanted there to be. I don't think Michael was on screen or just involved as nearly as much as he should have been, but it was still a lot of fun. There's a lot of kills, very gory. It was a great slasher movie. Will Halloween Ends have less kills? I'm not sure. I am kind of leaning towards that it will, because I think this is going to be more of a story-driven movie. And will that make it better? I don't know. I think a lot of times in slasher movies, once you get too far into the story, you might lose a lot of people, because historically slasher movies don't have the best stories. I think that's just a common thing. And so I'm just worried that if it goes too story-driven, that the kills are gonna be a lot less. Now, there weren't that many kills in the original movie, but still, I just think they can make up for there being less kills by having a ton of atmosphere, a ton of scary scenes, and all of that type of stuff. They can, and with just the general mood of the movie, they can really make up for it. So I think that's how they did it in Halloween, the original. There was hardly any blood, not that much gore. There weren't that many kills, but yet it's one of the scariest movies of the entire franchise, or of all time even. It's a great movie, so they can make up for it. So the amount of kills doesn't necessarily mean it's a good or a bad movie, but I just don't know if people will enjoy it as much if there isn't. The main thing is atmosphere. It has to be scary. To me, it doesn't matter how many kills there are, it just has to be scary. The next thing, will there be too many distracting storylines and characters? Halloween Kills suffered from this immensely, to say the least. That whole middle part of Halloween where they're at the hospital and the whole town is there and they're worried about some guy that isn't even Michael Myers, who the viewer can clearly tell is not Michael Myers, and you just want to scream through the TV, guys, it's not Michael Myers, calm down. Just chill your tits, And so that was a very frustrating part of that movie, because it just feels like, when you rewatch it, you just want to skip that part because you just want to get back to Michael Myers. You want to get back to something that actually matters. That part doesn't even matter. And at the end of the day, when they did find Michael Myers, it just made that whole scene just not even valuable in any way. I don't understand why that was in there. I'm not saying it wasn't a good scene. I mean, I thought the death of when the patient jumped and everything, it was gruesome, added to the violence and everything. Or I guess not violence, but it added to the gore, I guess. And so, it is what it is, but I just think that it was distracting. And I think one problem with 2018, now we're not comparing Halloween 2018 with Halloween Ends right now, but just for an example, I think 2018 had a lot of distracting characters. Not too many, but they had too many characters that distracted from the main plot, main story. And I think Halloween Kills, my initial thought is that it didn't have too many, but when I think about it more, it did. It had way too many distracting characters and distracting little storylines and subplots, especially the hospital scene. Obviously, that's the big one. But a lot of other distracting things, like, for example, you have this sheriff that was with Laurie, and they're talking about how they wanted to be in love and all this stuff. It was distracting. I'm not saying it's not good, I'm just saying it's distracting from the main thing. Then you have Karen and everything telling her daughter not to do this and that, and it's just like, we don't really care about them that much. I mean, we do, but it's just not the biggest deal to me. It's just a little bit distracting. I think they did a pretty good job of balancing it, but the problem is when they did that whole scene in the hospital, it just tipped it way over into the boundary of way too distracting of a storyline. So, the next thing, will it be funny? Like Halloween Kills. To me, Halloween Kills was very funny. It had a lot of comedy in it, especially with Lil Jon and Big John. It was just great, and there was even comedy in some of the kill scenes, like when Michael kicks the door and the gun turns around and shoots that nurse, and she basically shoots herself. That was hilarious, and the theater erupted and so in laughter. So I feel like having comedy in it is a mark of these this trilogy of movies that they're making. There's definitely comedy in 2018, and it was in the same style as it was in Halloween Kills. So I feel like they are going to put that in there, and I hope they do, because it really makes the movies enjoyable for rewatching, and it just makes it more fun. I don't want it to be campy, though. I don't want it to be cheesy, but I think they had a good amount of humor in those movies, in Halloween Kills. So it's going to be hard to top. But again, they don't want to go too far, but I think it needs to be at least as funny, because I would say that Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills were just as funny as each other. And so I hope Halloween Ends can match that, and so that all three of them can be like the same amount of funny. So that's what I'm hoping for. So my next thing is, will it be memorable, or will it just be another sequel? I think that that's probably one of the biggest challenges that David Gordon Green has right now with this trilogy. I think the first two movies are definitely memorable. They're definitely some of the best sequels in the franchise. But with Halloween Ends, it's his final movie of the trilogy, and so it has to be good. It has to be memorable. If it's not memorable, if it's awful, if it makes people hate everything, if it makes people retroactively hate 2018 and Kills, then it will not be a success. And so I really hope that this can close the trilogy in a good way, so that we can view these three movies as their own thing, their own style of Halloween movies that are fun to watch, and that you might be able to watch them back to back to back. I would love that. I don't want it to just be, Halloween 2018 and then Halloween Kills and then Ends is like way off, like just fell off a cliff or something. I don't want that. I want it to be very, very similar to those movies, so I hope it will be. I'm just a little bit worried because they filmed it so much so much later, and it sounds like they changed a lot of what they wanted to do, and it sounds like even now we're like a month away from the movie releasing, a little more than a month away, and they're supposedly, according to David Gordon Green, still editing a few things. So they're changing a lot. They have a lot of different thoughts and ideas. I trust in them, but we'll see what happens. but it needs to be memorable. It needs to be memorable because we don't know right now when we're going to get another Halloween movie. So you don't want to give people a sour taste in their mouth that might last for a long time until we get another one. And I guess this has to do with the last thought, but my final thought is, will there be stakes? Will important people die? There has to be stakes. We learned that from the Scream movies. Important people have to be, up to be killed. They have to be part of, basically the main characters have to be able to be killed. That's what happened in the last Scream movie. They finally killed Dewey. Now, I kind of wish they would have chose one of the girls, but they chose Dewey. But in a way, I mean, it hurts, but it's supposed to hurt. There has to be stakes. You don't want people to have plot armor. Now, in Halloween, obviously, Laurie, up until now, has had huge plot armor, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. It's alright for me, but yeah, it does feel like in 2018, she's not gonna die, So, and in a lot of ways, Michael Myers has plot armor, I guess. So I don't really have a problem with that, but this is Halloween Ends, so something crazy needs to happen. Something insane needs to happen. There has to be huge stakes. In Halloween Kills, there were stakes, but we didn't expect there to be huge stakes because we knew that there was another movie coming, and so somebody has to come back. Some of the actors have to come back, so not everyone can die. But in Halloween Ends, this is it. This is Jamie Lee Curtis's last movie, supposedly, as of now. Everything's done. This is the last movie of the trilogy. So if there's going to be anything afterwards, it's going to be something completely different. Maybe even in a different timeline. So this has to have big stakes. Important characters have to be able to be killed. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't be killed. I'm saying that it has to be possible. And so we need to see something epic, something big happen. This is not the time for plot armor. This is not the time for only random people in the town to be killed. This has to be important characters this time that have to be in danger. The important characters have to be in danger. That's the bottom line. That will help make Halloween Ends better than Halloween Kills, in my opinion. But anyway, those are my thoughts for now. I really hope Halloween Ends will be better than Halloween Kills. So far, I have 2018 above Halloween Kills. So I'm not sure if it's going to end up that way after this movie, because it's kind of weird, because I like 2018, but I liked it a lot more after Halloween Kills. So maybe Halloween Ends will have an effect on how we view the other movies. So we'll see what happens. I'm really excited for it. It's not too far away until the release. So if you like hearing about Halloween and other horror movies, go ahead and subscribe. I also do a lot of Sporkle quiz videos where I take quizzes and do random trivia about horror movies like Halloween, Scream, Friday the 13th. So if you want to watch that, go ahead and subscribe. So anyway, I really appreciate you watching. Are you going to go see Halloween Ends? Are you excited for it? What do you think is going to happen? How do you think it can be better than Halloween Kills? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And remember, don't ever say you'll be right back. Remember the rules to horror movies. And until next time, have a great day.